All right. We are recording the Grateful podcast episode for Broadlawns Medical Center. Nate, man, what's up with you?
Not a whole lot. Great to be here.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited to finally get on the podcast.
Yes, you need to put in the ear of those that Broadlawns needs a podcast.
Yes, it absolutely
I think that'd be
does.
so dope to have a Broadlawns podcast. But I can get all into that. I can speak on that all day.
Sure.
But what we're here for, is what we're grateful for. Holidays are coming up. So I wanted to have you on. When I brought up the idea, you were like, "Man, I want to do it. Let's do it."
I'm all over it.
Yeah. So before we start talking about gratefulness and what we're grateful for and how you really practice that yourself, tell everybody watching, who are you, what you do here at Broadlawns, and fill us in.
Yeah. So I'm Nate Steenblock. I'm the marketing assistant here at Broadlawns. I've been here for almost 4 months now.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy ride, and I love it. The thing I love about being here is just everybody wants to be here here at Broadlawns. So, I appreciate coming into work every day and having people greet me at the door, or
Word.
somebody I've never seen before in my life will come up to me, say hi, ask me how I'm doing, all that stuff. But, it's just been this connotation of Broadlawns that it's the free hospital that people go to that don't have money.
Mm-hmm.
Our job now on the marketing team is to get to the point where people understand that Broadlawns is world-renowned, has world-renowned doctors, has all the services you can think of. And that's really what brought me to Broadlawns, is being able to tell that story through marketing. And it's been a crazy ride so far. It's been amazing.
No, that's dope. I think that story about Broadlawns has to be told, because there are still people who are from Des Moines that have seen the progression of what we're doing here, and don't understand that, hey, man, we're not the same Broadlawns. We're bigger, better. Bolder, better, brighter. I gotta say it in the right order before I get in trouble. But I'm also grateful for the fact that I'm grateful, that Broadlawns is here for those that we're trying to serve in our underserved communities, but also know that we serve everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yes, that's been who we have been for a long time. Like, yes, if you don't have insurance, things like that, yeah, come rock with us. But also, if you do have private insurance or whatever, you can come here too and get great care. And we're seeing that a little bit, as we keep growing and all that, and people starting to realize that. But I'm glad we have people that are really focused on that story, and can tell that story for Broadlawns.
Right, and that was really a deciding factor about coming to work here, was I was able to be a part of the team that spearheads the journey 10, 20, 30 years from now, that people understand that Broadlawns is the place to be, the place to work, the place to come to when you need help. We've got it all. And
right.
So it almost makes my job too easy to tell that story because of how amazing Broadlawns is and where it's going. Because
you see it, you're in the meetings, and you've seen that from the outside. Now you're definitely seeing it from the inside.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because even when my parents were younger, I've heard them talk about that they used to work in a group home, and not a lot of hospitals around here during that time were very welcoming to people that lived in group homes. So they were adoring Broadlawns ever since the beginning, and that was still before, the connotation of we're the best now.
Right.
But that, and they got to a point where with my dad's father, he was having, severe dementia, Parkinson's problems, and this is the place that they came, because they knew that it was going to be great care, but not everybody knew about it at the time. And so now, we have our Brain and Wellness Center coming up.
That's going to be dope. I can't wait to see that.
I mean, that's the first of its kind.
Yeah.
And, and it's not only to help people with, dementia and Parkinson's and, that kind of stuff, but it's also for the people that care for those people. So it's almost teaching them how to care for the people that, are suffering from these diseases. And so that really hits home with me because of, obviously, my grandpa had it. My grandma had it. It's to the point where it skips a generation, but now I'm going to have to start dealing with it myself. So it's
wow.
about, early education in that, space. So I'm very happy and thankful that, Broadlawns is getting to the point where we're focusing on that stuff with its own building.
Yeah. And I'm even grateful. And going back to our previous point, if we didn't have the providers or the doctors here that are already thinking of those issues and be like, hey, we need this in our community, that probably wouldn't even be happening.
No, not at all.
You know
Not
what I
at
mean?
all.
That wouldn't even be happening. So the fact that we do is amazing. So we understand, we all know, we're all grateful for Broadlawns, where we're at in the community. But I want to know a little bit more about what keeps Nate grateful. Tell me about how you practice gratefulness. What keeps you grounded? You seem like a very humble person.
Thank you.
What keeps you grounded and grateful for everything you have?
It really all comes back to, how I was raised and how I grew up. I'm a huge family person. My family and I are super, super close. And, it came from an early age where my parents really instilled me that not everything is given to you. So, obviously working hard to get things like, getting a job out of college like I just did. You have to be grateful for the things that
That's real.
get you to that point, but not everybody thinks about that. They're just, on the run, doing things right. And so I'm a firm believer of, appreciating the little things in life. Whether it's just driving to work and it's a sunny day, that's a huge deal to me.
Right.
Because it's, it's a great time to be alive, right? And so it's, it really just comes from, my parents and having them get me to understand this life is not very long.
Yeah.
So you have to be grateful for everything that you do.
Yeah, I think that's important to, especially to understand that not everything happens for a reason. It's like, man, like I have this great position. There's a lot of things going for me. Also understanding that there are people who are not, thriving like that.
Right.
But I'm grateful, not one, that I'm able to take care of myself, but be at a place that's trying to fix that for the community. That's cool. That's cool, man. Well, we have a group of people here ready to get on this mic. So Nate, bro, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
thank you so
Thank
much
you so
for
much.
letting us know what you're grateful about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks,
All
Corey.
right. I'm excited that you're on the mic because this is what you do for a living. You have strategies for people to go out there and improve their life. So tell people a little bit about what you do here at Broadlawns.
I'm an outpatient behavioral therapist, so I work with adults, as well as co-facilitate a group therapy, a curriculum-based group therapy.
Awesome. So tell me, what does that entail? When we think of gratefulness, how do you work that within your practice or in your group trainings?
Well, first of all, cultivating gratitude takes us out of our fight and flight system and into our prefrontal cortex, where we can access clear thinking, where we can access focus, concentration. So it's a great practice just to get out of that survival mode and into thriving. Some psychoeducation, teaching people about shifting our focus to gratitude and how it helps to just really clear up the way that we think. We do a mindfulness practice during our curriculum group every day, so whether that's a meditation or a guided visualization. And we do one specific practice, which is called a loving kindness or a meta blessing, where we offer gratitude and bless ourselves, and then we imagine a person that we care for, and we send them that same gratitude, person we might be having difficulty with, and then bring that blessing right back to ourselves again. So starting with ourselves and ending with ourselves.
A meta blessing. Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you teach this to everybody.
Yes.
You see, but what are some gratitude practices that you do for yourself?
I do use that loving kindness, that meta blessing. I was a yoga teacher for 20 years and taught meditation. So meditation is part of my gratitude practice. Time in nature, just visualizing whether it's individuals or my pets, looking at them and then just offering up whatever I'm feeling grateful for and just sitting in that for a bit and pausing. And that just really shifts my mindset.
When I think about being grateful, I'm glad you said, pausing, because when I think about, being grateful or how can I practice being more grateful, that pause is hard. That pause, and it could be, I heard people say, well, just do it for 30 seconds. Or I'm like, that's hard to pause. Are there how can somebody pause? That's a weird question, but it's a question that I have.
It's a really common question, actually.
Really?
It's not a weird question at all. How do we do that? We practice it, and I've been practicing it for 20 years. Sure, that's right. Well, close enough. Anyhow,
a long time.
So let me pause right now and collect myself. But just noticing things like that, noticing when I'm like, oh, I'm starting to talk fast. Am I checking my facts? And then oh, something's going on in my system. Can I just pause, take a breath, and just practicing that. Noticing what it feels like to feel a little more anxious or worried. Noticing what it feels like because I practiced it, but it took a while.
So really, really, my next question, if, say, work is getting stressful,
sure,
can I email my boss and say, I'm currently taking a pause?
I don't know the yes,
I need that back to me by this weekend. I'm sorry. I'm taking a pause.
I love that. I mean, come with solutions. I just say I have a colleague who talks about leading with courage and compassion. So sure, hey boss, here's my courage.
Becky, I'm pausing for.
Right.
I'm pausing for today.
Right.
Not using PTO. Perfect. Well, so tell me, before I get you going, what are you grateful for?
My children, the work that I do, nature, my friends. I have a huge support system. Grateful for this opportunity to share my practice. Another thing that I'm really grateful for is the awareness of sometimes I notice that women don't have a great, a great example of how to celebrate themselves. Sometimes society is like, oh, don't be bragging about yourself if you're a woman. So to celebrate my growth and progress and share that with others and encourage them to do the same. And that it's the same for men, but I think it's a little more natural or expected for men.
Almost,
okay,
you're supposed to be more, I guess, maybe humble or timid and not taking the back seat.
Selfless servants. This is just what we do because that's what's expected. And it's true. And I think celebrating our progress and growth. And that's something to be grateful for.
Yeah, you can be humble and confident.
Absolutely.
And, give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. This is what I do. This is fun to me, man.
I can see this being fun, man. You're a talker. I got to get down with something like this, man.
Man, I'm telling you.
It's my own mental health podcast.
You should. You should do it.
Mental health podcasts out there.
Yeah, but there's not one that's made by you.
That you are right about that.
Look, that's what I'm saying, bro.
You are right.
Awesome. Well, Gabe, man, thank you so much for being on this great gratitude podcast. I don't know what we're calling it, but it's a podcast at Broadlawns.
All right. I can dig it.
For those that don't know, I don't know who don't know you. But for those, tell people, who you are and what you do.
I'm Gabe Martinez, and I am the Assistant Vice President of Broadlawns Community-Based Mental Health Services.
Yeah, so that's you went through that really, really fast. That's a big deal. You have a lot of responsibility.
There is a lot of responsibility that comes with that title.
Yeah, yes. So let's kick it off, man. What are you grateful for?
Oh man, I've been hearing you ask that question to the other participants that have been here with you today, and the first thing that comes to my mind is that's a big ask.
It
And the
is.
reason I say that's a big ask is that because we go through so many little moments in the time span of a day, in the time span of a week, a month, a year, that it's almost hard to
Yeah.
summarize. What I'm grateful for, one of the biggest things that I'm grateful for is my family. My family held me down a couple years ago when I received some bad news in regards to my health, and it was their strength that helped me through that bad time.
Right.
That is one of my biggest gratitude is my family, because they held me down when I wasn't able to hold them down.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know how on Facebook you get your memories from this time 5 years ago.
Yes.
It's almost like reliving that, like, man, they were there for me when I remember when I didn't even want to get out the bed.
Yep.
And this happened. And there's always something. We can be grateful about something every day.
Every day, yes.
Every day.
Even the smallest interaction when you hold the door for somebody at the local Quick Trip, and they say thank you to you,
Right.
or you help somebody get across the street, So those are small little moments that a lot of times we forget about, and those are the
Right.
things that I have recently decided to tell myself: capture the little things. Capture the little moments. Don't wait for the big explosion of, holy smokes, that is so amazing, or anything like that. We got to capture the small things, because those are the things that slip away. And if we let them slip away, we forget about them.
Yeah, almost like how Julie was saying, how having that pause.
Yes,
That could be a
exactly.
great time to, just the littlest thing and being just pausing and just sitting in that. Which
Exactly.
is, I'm not going to lie to you, Gabe, that is so hard for me. Because I'm always on the go.
Yes.
And we're in an on-the-go society, and I've been sucked into it. Like, I'm not even going to front. But
That's how we live.
That's how we,
That's how we live.
That's how we live. But also, just this little short time, with the 3 people I've interviewed so far, especially when Julie, man, she was giving some game.
Yes,
and
she
I'm
was.
like, I need to be listening. My brain's like, what was that movie where the Wayans brothers, he was like, message. What was that? But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's like, I need to receive that message. Like, maybe I need to sit down and breathe.
You have to. You have to. I mean, to me, it's sometimes the simplest thing. So I think about myself and my wife. I mean, we're watching a show, where I sit on the couch, and it's that little moment where I'll turn to her and I'll be like, hey, you want your foot rubbed? To me, it's those little things. It's like,
Right.
let me make you feel good,
Right.
in this moment. Let me rub your feet, so that way you can take some of that stress of our daily life away from you, just so that way I
Right.
can give you just that little moment. I can't be there for you every minute of the day, but in this
Right.
moment, I want to capture this moment right now. So let me remember this.
Right. And I can only imagine, because you being in your kind of grateful mindset doing that, now she's more grateful for you for doing that, because you
I
don't
hope
know
so.
what.
I hope so.
Oh, she is. Yeah, she's. Oh, I'm grateful to have a husband that thinks of me in that way.
Yes.
Right. And then so it's just kind of this positive
Yes.
cycle of gratitude.
You have to. You gotta fill your. And this is a simple thing. It's filling your bucket. You got to find ways to fill your bucket.
Right.
And for me, that means doing for people. I like to do for people. And that's how I've lived my whole life ever since I was a kid. It was always doing for people. That's where my gratitude comes from. Is that I like to see that expression when you can help somebody out and they say thank you.
Right.
Because they mean it. They mean it.
Yeah.
You did something meaningful for them. No matter how big it was, you did something meaningful.
Right, and that's what makes what you do here at Broadlawns so important.
Oh,
I guess that's why you're in the position that you're in.
I like to think that's a big part of why I am in the position that I am in. I pay attention. I look for ways to help people get their needs met, whether it be mental health, physical health, or whatever it could be, emotional health. That's what I strive for. I think about the time when I really decided to get into the helping field. I was 15 years old.
Wow.
And it was because of a pickup basketball game in my neighborhood.
Okay, talk about it.
It was a pickup basketball game. I mean, it was a community center that all the neighborhood kids go to. And it was one morning where I just seen these 4 kids didn't get to play. Nobody was picking them to be on a team. Nobody wanted to play with them. They were the outcast. But I knew that each of them had a specific skill that they were good at.
Wow.
And it was in that moment that I was able to capture the one kid that was a good 3-point shooter. Never missed.
Wow.
Never missed, even though people didn't want to pick him. I knew the one kid, he was a little bit heavier, bigger kid, couldn't run a whole lot, but he could rebound the heck out of the basketball.
Right.
And then there was the other kid that can play defense on anybody. He shut anybody out. No matter how good you were, he would shut you out.
Wow.
And so I got the opportunity to be a captain that day. And it was in that moment that I captured all their strength. And I said, hey, this is what we're going to do. You do this, because I knew if I gave them a little bit of direction, they would flourish with the activity that I told them to do. We never got off the court that day. Ran it all day long. I'm talking from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. when they kicked us out.
Man.
It never lost that day. And for me, that was the moment when I said, you know what, everybody has a special gift. We just got to capitalize it and be grateful that they are given that and that they're able to give it to somebody else.
Yo, well, I can tell you this, Gabe, that Broadlawns is grateful for your gift. And the man, I'm gonna keep saying how much you're the man, cause I know it makes you.
Man,
I know I know it makes
you know what, Corey? You know what? In this moment, I am going to accept the flowers that you're giving.
Thank you. That's all I ask.
To accept it.
That's all I ask. Awesome. Well, Gabe, I appreciate you.
Not a problem, sir.
Yes, and
Thank
everybody, thank you for watching this gratefulness conversation with us for this Broadlawns podcast.